Now it's time on the programme for Perspective, and the future is peace. Now it's the title of a new book written by my guest today, but also their message of hope for the world. In fact, their very collaboration really shining a beacon of hope. That's because the book is written by Aziz Abu Sarah, a Muslim Palestinian whose brother was killed by the Israeli military, and Maoz Inon, an Israeli whose parents were killed by Hamas in October of 2023. Now, despite all the potential obstacles between them, the two men have come together to try to spread the message of unity in their book, The Future of Peace, a shared journey across the Holy Land. Both men appearing later as the book is launched as well in French here in Paris as La Paix et notre Avenir at the Consulat Voltaire a little bit later on tonight. So English and French. Very impressive to have both of you here.
Morning.
Thank you very much for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you.
Maoz, I was going to start with you and ask you really how your intense friendship, if you like, came about, because I gather you've known each other mostly professionally for a long, long time, but Maoz, it was after your parents were killed by Hamas that Aziz, as you say, really kind of saved you, both of you in a way.
Yes. So 2 days after losing our parents, we made a family decision that we are rejecting revenge, that we don't want to avenge the deaths of our parents, because avenging their death, we realized will only escalate the cycle of violence and bloodshed that we both, Palestinian and Israelis, been trapped within for a century, and it's definitely not going to bring them back to life. And a day after we made this family decision, Aziz sent a message on Facebook. We were friends on Facebook. We met maybe a decade ago, 2014, for 10 minutes through our involvement in the travel industry in Palestine and Israel, but we weren't really connected. So a day after we made this family decision, Aziz reached out to me and offering his condolences.
Was it a difficult decision to make?
No, for us it was the obvious decision, and based off to cherish my parents, beloved parents, Bila and Yacobi, legacy and memories, we knew that we must break the cycle. We cannot continue to act like we, the Israelis, been doing for nearly a century, believing that the next war will bring quiet, believing that wall will defend, believing that bombs will bring security. It failed throughout history, and it failed to save my parents. So for us, it was a realistic and pragmatic decision to reject revenge. And when Aziz was reaching out, it was literally like a hand, not a metaphor. It was a hand reaching out, saving me from drowning into the ocean of pain and sorrow. And in the last 2.5 years, working together, co-authoring The Future is Peace, I can now very proudly say that on October 7th, I lost my parents, I lost childhood friends, I lost people I knew my entire life, but I want Aziz. I want Aziz as a brother.
It's a beautiful way of looking at it. I've got a tear in my eye. You can hear it in my voice. Aziz, when you sent that message, I mean, why did you send it?
I sent it because it's the right thing to do. Maoz was in a dark place. He just lost his parents. I know the pain of grieving, of losing somebody in your family. I've lost my brother in the first Intifada due to torture in Israeli prison. And so I understood what he was going through, because nobody can understand more than somebody who's gone through it. And I felt that I must reach out. Reaching out in these moments is so essential, not because I expected him to respond. I honestly didn't know if he would, but also because I think it's exactly in those moments that we need empathy the most. Reaching out changes people's lives. And it was the same for me when my Hebrew teacher, I was very anti-peace growing up until my Hebrew teacher, when I went to study Hebrew, I was 18, reached out to me, and she was the first Israeli to show me kindness and treat me like a human being, and that changed my life. So it's something we should all be practicing.
Yeah, I mean, you even admit yourself, you describe yourself as a one-time radical seeking revenge. I mean, how did you get above that?
Yeah, so I lost my brother when I was 10 years old, and it took 8 years for that to happen. I was very angry, I was very bitter, and I wanted revenge. And then when I was 18, I realized if you don't study Hebrew in Jerusalem, it's a problem. You're not going to get a job, you're not going to go to college. And in my Hebrew class, I went to Ulpan, which is where Jewish immigrants go to study Hebrew. And it was there that I met for the first time Israelis that were not soldiers and not settlers. And that encounter just changed my life, because my Hebrew teacher reached out to me, treated me differently. The other students in the class, they recognized also my identity. They recognized what it means to be a Palestinian. They recognized what it means to live under occupation in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. And that changed everything for me.
How difficult has it been for the two of you to do what you've done? I mean, I'm sure there was an awful lot of support and friendship from immediate family, from friends, but presumably a lot of criticism as well?
Actually, we are getting a lot of support. And this is why the book was published in the U.S. And in the U.S. with a great success, we become a New York Times bestsellers, and we've been inviting from communities from all over the spectrum to come and speak in the U.S. The same in France from our publishers, and we have a very, very tight and busy schedule now speaking, and we are very happy to open this today here in your studio, but also back home. We are only representing the Israeli-Palestinian peace movement, and that's what's important to say. It's a growing movement. We are gaining momentum. We are gaining power. Recently, we have done the People Peace Summit with gathers of Israelis and Palestinians coming together and creating hope. And in time of despair, and of course, this is a time of despair, and the reality is broken, and so many lives are being lost, but this is the time for us, for the civil society leaders to stand up and to create hope by envisioning a better future and acting. We are acting on the ground to create a better reality for us and for the 14 million people living in the Holy Land between the Jordan River and Mediterranean Sea.
So Aziz, tell us about the book then. I mean, how did you go from this friendship to writing a book together?
Well, after we did our TED Talk, there was Doug Abrams who was there. He's a book agent who's written also himself many books. And he came to us, approached us and said, you both need to write a book. We had no idea what he was talking about. And we decided to work with him on it. And within a few weeks, we were signed by Crown Publishing House and eventually by other publishing houses. And we decided to write the book as a journey. Both of us come from travel. Maoz started the Jesus Trail, the Abraham Hostels. I started Majdi Tours. And we thought it needs to be a story of travel, starting at Maoz's home, talking about what happened October 7th, going into Gaza. We couldn't go personally, but we interviewed people who lost family members there or were doctors there. Then we go into Jaffa, we talk about Zionism, we talk about Nakba, Palestinian national movement, we go into Jerusalem, visit my home. And so you learn not only about, and we continue to Galilee and so on, but you don't only learn about us, you learn about us and our stories, you learn about the biblical narratives, the historical narratives, the 100 years of conflict, the whole topography of the region. So it's also a travelogue. And most importantly, you also learn about how we can make change and what the future will look like. And I think that's what sets this book as a unique book, is the future's piece is not only about the past and the present, we talk about both, but it's also about the future. And that's where we want people to go with us on this journey.
I mean, it's incredible, isn't it, that all this has come out of just a message that Aziz sent you.
Exactly. And I was, immediately I answered him with a broken heart. And then we built what we are saying now, our brotherhood. And we had an amazing event and meetings and experience, meeting Pope Francis at the Arena de Paix in Verona, and meeting Pope Leo, meeting faith leaders, spiritual leaders, and policymakers. And we are coming to everyone with the same ask. It's time to act. It's time to act now. It's too late for Taysir, Aziz's brother. It's too late for my parents, but it's not too late for the millions of people living in Palestine and Israel, hundreds of millions living in the Middle East. It's time to act now. It's time to amplify our voices. It's time to legitimize reconciliation, dialogue, diplomacy. It's time to change policies. Instead of investing in tools of destruction, when you invest in weapons, you harvest bloodshed.
Yeah.
But when you invest in dialogue, when you invest in shared life initiatives, you harvest justice and peace. So it's time to change policies, and it's time to create the political will. We are doing it on the ground, creating the popular demand, but we are calling international policymaker to pressure everyone in the region, the policymaker in the region, to start dialogue, to start negotiate, and not trying to bomb their way to peace, because it's never worked, it's not working, it will never work in the future. It's time to assemble a negotiation room where all stakeholders will be in the room, and we must be in the room. Peacemakers, peace reconciliation must be in the room. And if we let our future be hijacked by real estate developers, by people who maybe can negotiate on a deal of buy and sell properties.
How difficult is it to get the message across? I mean, I'm sure a lot of the people who read the book, who come and hear you speak, a lot of the people listening to this may be exactly on the same wavelength. But obviously there are very, very hardened opinions amongst some people. I mean, do you feel like you've been able to at least try to make some of those really hardened individuals start to think about the future?
Yes. We just talked to somebody yesterday before we flew into Paris, and he told us that he disagreed with us before we even started the conversation. He said, I read your book and I agreed with some of it and I disagreed with some of it. And then we had a couple hours discussion, and by the end of it, we were hugging. People are desperate for this kind of message. I think we need more examples. We need symbols for peace. We need symbols of people who come together like us, who people expect us to hate each other. People expect us to be on the opposite sides. People expect us to punch each other right now. And the moment we call each other brothers and hug each other, that makes a switch for people. And if we can have more of these symbols, it makes a big, big difference. But on the other hand, I think we shouldn't underestimate the need of encouraging those who already agree with us. People are in despair. Even those who fully agree with us feel hopeless, feel that they can't do anything, feel that their voices don't matter. And the goal of the Future is Peace is to encourage those who are already with us to say, don't be isolated. You're not alone. We need you as part of our movement. We need you to start acting. We need you to amplify our voices. We need you to legitimize this message. Don't be afraid to speak up. This needs to be a trend. This needs to be the story, the main story, whether it's in the news or magazines or in politics or everywhere. Let's speak about a vision for peace.
I knew this was going to happen. Would you believe? We've been talking for more than 10 minutes already. Great to have you both with us here on set today. Thank you very much. Aziz Abu Sarah and Maoz Inon. The books then Future of Peace. You can see Future is Peace, sorry. You can see it on the screen, and Paix et notre Avenir being launched tonight here in France as well. Thanks very much to both.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.